Welcome to the Roaming Yeti podcast, where we share stories and tips to inspire you to roam your neighborhood and the world. I'm your host and head Yeti, Beth Scalacci. In this episode, I am joined by my daughter Julia. We discuss our favorite things to do at Disney's Animal Kingdom. We dive into theming, what not to miss, and a little background into how Roaming Yeti got its name. Are you ready? Let's roam. Welcome to this week's episode of the Roaming Yeti. We're going in a different direction. I mentioned previously that sort of be covering every park that our family has been to over the years, and so I brought in my expert, my daughter Julia,
Hi.
and we we sort of went back and forth, and we created hopefully what makes sense, sort of this outline to go through. But we wanted to start in what I'm going to go ahead and say is our favorite park at Walt Disney World. Am I accurate on that one?
I think that's fair. I mean, Epcot holds a special place in my heart personally, but I think Animal Kingdom is subjectively a little better.
Yeah. And what really it went from a half day park when Julia was younger to a full day park. And really it's because she could ride more rides and there were things to do. We used to basically have a character meal at Tusker House for breakfast. Then we go on safari. We visit with some customers, characters. We visit with some characters and do a few other things. But now we hit more rides. We like to take our time out and get a little drink and a little food at the Nomad Lounge and really just sort of wander around looking at theming and animals. It's truly a different park experience from any other park. What do you think?
I definitely agree. That's like the main thing about this park is it's like, yeah, I maybe have like 3 to 4 rides that I'm like I have to ride. But other than that, it's like it's such a fun part to look around, look at the theming, just sit outside, actually enjoy nature for once. I love it.
Yeah, and the park opened in 1998 on April 22nd, which is Earth Day. So I mean, the Imagineers really just did a great job on this park. One logistic thing to go over is getting to the park. You either have to drive or ride a bus. There's no boats, there's no monorail. So it is a little bit out from everything else, and I think that's one thing that discourages people. But please get on that bus or drive out there because it really is worth it. Um, we wanted to sort of go land by land, and areas of the park and tell you sort of what's there. Julia has some great theming details for you to look at when you're there, and some things that we both think you should do. And the first one you walk through is Discovery Island, and it's where to see the Tree of Life, which is the main icon of the park. And at the underneath Tree of Life is a show called It's Tough to Be a Bug. Um, we we have we have strong opinions on that one, but we want
Yeah.
everyone to enjoy it if they want. Would you like to voice your concerns?
I just want to say that I looked this up. It's an 8 feet tall Hopper animatronic. Yeah, you know the villain from A Bug's Life? Yeah, it's terrifying. That's not the worst part though. There are bugs like crawl under your seat, and then there's like bees that sting you. Like it smells like stink bug at one point. I don't like it.
Yeah, I would suggest if you have any issues with insects or like physical, like it's probably not for you. Um, it's it's interesting. It's worth a one-time try, but it's
Kids
not a
cry.
repeat. Yeah, it's not a repeat for us. That's for sure. And then also there's the Discovery Island trails, which are basically the trails walking up to the Tree of Life. And there's animals when you get up to the Tree of Life. There's sometimes a bird show going on. So there's a lot just going on around you. Um, so what are some of the theming things people can look for in this area?
Okay, so the Tree of Life is 145 feet tall. It's carved with 325 reptiles, mammals, and birds. And then each of those like animals and stuff, the artist only had about 6 to 10 hours to sculpt each one before the plaster dried.
Which when you if you've seen them, you know that's amazing because they're so detailed, right?
They're so big and they're so detailed, and it's really crazy because also when you think about how long it truly takes to do an art piece like that, it's it's oh my gosh, it's amazing. And then the other part of the tree, which is really cool, is that there are expansion joints on the tree, so the tree branches can sway in the wind, so it looks even more natural.
Yeah, it's hard other than the sheer size, it's hard to believe that it's not it's not real because it's just built in such a way. So what in your mind, what are some things that people should do in Discovery Island?
Um, I am pretty sure this is where Nomad Lounge is. I would say there because also it's like I think the character boats are still going on and they do pass by Nomad Lounge. So if you're outside, they pass by you. You're really close. It's great. It's a nice environment. So that's a pretty cool place. And then during like the winter holidays, there are these little puppets of like there's penguins, there's polar bears, there's a fox, and they're the most magical things ever. I love them. They're such a pretty design. Like you can see the people doing the puppets, but honestly that makes it better. And I don't know, it's such a wonderful experience. And then there'll be like the little like lanterns near the shops in the area. I honestly, Animal Kingdom around the holidays, honestly Disney around the holidays is just magical and I love those puppets.
Yes, those the addition of those puppets was a, a real highlight for that park as well. Um, I love walking. There's a lot of little paths around the trunk of the Tree of Life, so you can get up and get a lot more details of the animals and even if you don't want to sit through, it's tough to be a bug. You can walk through that queue to see it, and then they'll let you out a different exit because there really is a lot to see in the details. And a lot of those little paths, a lot of people don't walk, so it's sort of a nice little quiet area that you can hang out and enjoy a coffee or just catch your catch your breath during the day. Is there any other things you should do there? It's not a big area, so it's sort of
It's not like there's shops and stuff, so you can go visit the shops. There's I think that's where the Starbucks is. It's sort of a hub for like that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, the tree is you got to look at the tree.
yeah. So if you go in and you head to your left, you end up in Pandora, which is the newest land, right? Yeah. Newest land in the park. And that really just has two rides. It has Avatar Flight of Passage and the Navi River Journey, um, which are both fun rides, which we'll talk about. But what about some theming we have going on there?
Oh, I first gonna say that Pandora is based on the movie Avatar,
Oh, yes,
or
thank you.
now franchise. My bad. So it is based on that world. So it's you sort of get to step into the movie. Um, First off, yeah, we're gonna start with this. So, in the bridge entering to Pandora, you'll see this like almost by because there's like a river type situation. There's some water, and there's on the other side when you're getting on the bridge, there is a stone dragon, and it's representative of this never built land called Beastly Kingdom, which was originally supposed to have like mythical creatures and stuff. So it's like sort of Pandora, but it's not. Like it would have had like dragons and unicorns and stuff, which is so much cooler. No offense. But it's sort of that like thing, which is why there's a dragon on the sign. That's why at one point I think it's still there. I'm not sure. They've been changing around parking spots, but there was a unicorn parking area. So that's why that stuff is there of a land that was never built. Once you get into the actual land, there is a, like a drink bar situation. You can also get
Oh,
a few snacks.
Pongu
Pongu
Pongu.
Pongu, which translates to party party. And there's a bunch of fun decorations. The holidays, there's like a little knobby nutcracker thing. It's beautiful. But there are these dog tags, and I one of the dog tags is Joe Rohde, who is like the head Imagineer for basically just Animal Kingdom in general, and then also for Pandora. And then in the ride, Flight of Passage, when you exit, there are three handprints on one of the walls near, like, I think on the bottom floor. And one of them is James Cameron, the director of Avatar. Then we have John Londo, who's the producer, and then Joe Rohde, who is the lead Imagineer.
Yeah, it's pretty cool the things in there. I will say it's the to me that land is much cooler at night because of the way they've used black lights and it shows sort of the bioluminescence and stuff. So if you go through during the day to do rides or eat or drink or whatever, I would go back in the evening after dark just to see it because it's a totally different experience, I think.
Yeah, and also because it's like it's sort of near the exit, so it's like just hop in real quick, spend like 5 minutes there. It's truly magical, and you'll be so happy you did it.
Yeah. Um, so the things to do, there's not much. So there's the two rides, um, and I think if the line's short, do the river ride. There's nothing super exciting on it. The storytelling's I don't know. I'm not even sure what fully the story is, but there is this amazing animatronic of the shaman um, that you have to see. So definitely get on there if it's the end of the night or the line's short. Take some time and ride that. Um, a Flight of Passage is super cool. I don't know how you would explain it. It's sort of like a combination of simulator, big screen, but you're also riding a
I would
band.
say Soren on a motorcycle.
Okay, it's fair. Um, I've been on it once because I had some motion sickness issues because you sort of you feel like you're diving, you're not. I would just I just close my eyes on those times to sort of avoid that feeling. But it's a fun ride. I definitely recommend it. Um, But again, if you're motion sickness, just close your eyes because you're not moving. The screen's moving. So it's an easy one to sort of deal with. What do you have as your things you should do?
Well, other than those two rides, because they're both just pretty to look at.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. They're beautiful rides. Um, just exploring the land, there's a lot of like fun like plants and creatures. There's especially like there's some pond areas where there's like these weird like creatures, organisms on them, and then like you can move your hands near them and like water will squirt out or they'll make noises and stuff. Like there's a lot of fun interactive things as part of the land. And then also the store is pretty fun. There's some pretty wacky merchandise sometimes.
That's
I
true.
love looking at the little banshees on the shoulder. I love that windbreaker that just has a photo of the shaman avatar on it. It's a beautiful windbreaker. But I think it's just fun to go in that store just to see what's there. But yeah.
That's true. There is a forgot about the store. There is some interesting stuff in there for sure.
And you can
Um,
turn yourself into a Navi. Like you would make a little like action figure
oh,
of
that's
yourself as a
right.
Navi.
That's right. Yeah, so definitely do not miss that store. Um, so then we would move over uh, depending on which way you go, but you can go, there's an Africa area. Um, and the rides and attractions there are the Kilimanjaro Safari. There's actually a train that goes to a different land that goes to Rafiki's Planet Watch. There's a Festival of the Lion King show. And then there's a Gorilla Falls exploration trail, which is a walkway through to see different animals and stuff. So, what do we got for theming details there?
This one blew my mind. Every building in this section is an exact replica of an existing building of Africa, down to like the scratches on the walls and stuff.
Yeah, that's the
It's
level of detail is amazing.
Yeah, it blows my mind because it's like I knew that they went to these places to see and get the feel, but the fact that they're exact replicas, insane. And then Kilimanjaro Safari, great ride. It was actually based on the Walt Disney's original concept for Jungle Cruise, because originally he wanted actual animals, but that was not possible, and they created animatronics for Jungle Cruise. But now getting the actual ride with real animals. Honestly, Walt Disney was sort of the main influence for the reason for Animal Kingdom because of his love of conservation and animals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Kilimanjaro Safari, where like the lions are, they have like these big rocks and stuff. They're actually air conditioned.
Which is why the lions are always laying right next to them.
Yeah. So like it's hot days, they'll just lay on it. It's adorable.
Um, for the things you should do here, I personally think the safari is a must. We ride it every time we go to Animal Kingdom. There's always a little something different. There's some things that never change, and that's sort of fun as well. But yeah, I definitely think the safari is a must for everyone. The Lion King, the Festival of the Lion King is a really popular show, and it is a really neat show. We've only been a couple of times. We usually don't stand in lines for shows and stuff, but we did. And remember when you actually ended up in the show?
Yeah, that was fun. That was it's a fun show. They get both kids and adults involved in it.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I don't want to do that, maybe sit in the back and disassociate, but like it's fun, honestly.
Yeah, and it's inside, so that's a nice break if it's, wet or cold or too hot. It does get too cold sometimes at Disney. But it's a really popular and fun show. So definitely get in line early for that one. What else? You you probably have the same things, but probably for different
Yeah.
reasons.
No, I definitely agree. Honestly, I feel like you did not go to Animal Kingdom if you didn't go on the Kilimanjaro safari. I feel
Fair.
like that's like the one thing that you have to do every single time because it's like one of the only rides that changes because it's
True.
animals. They're going to be different each time. But I that ride is just so great. Yeah, yeah, you have to do it.
Yeah.
That's my main thing is you have to do that ride.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a ride for everyone. So that's the other nice thing. You can get every generation on that ride.
Yeah. It is long though, isn't it like 30 minutes, 45 minutes?
I think it's 30, probably 30 minutes, but I mean uh, I guess I don't know that that's ever been a complaint. Most people complain that rides are too short. So
Yeah, it's just
but
to make sure you carve out your day for that. And then
yeah,
also go during the morning or near night. That's when the animals are most active.
right. Exactly. Um
Or rain.
or rain. You're taking all my like pro tips at the end, but that's okay.
Sorry, we can get more into them later. I'll stop.
You're fine. I'm just kidding. Um so are there any other things that people should do while in Africa?
I mean, admire the buildings.
That's one thing that I didn't put in here, but I remembered is, and I'm not going to remember what the words say, but there is a painting of a Mickey Mouse um, on one of the buildings, and I can't remember. It's over by the Harambe Market, but that's a really cool feature to look at and look for as well.
I'm
But
trying to see if I can be quick on Google.
that's fine. People will find it. But yeah, it's a hand painted Mickey Mouse. Yeah, and it I you're Julia's showing me and I can't pronounce it, so
I think
well,
it's Fishwa fella.
Bishwafa. Yeah, I think that's right. So it's definitely worth just sort of walking in that area as well. And then, like we said, there in Africa, there's a wildlife express train that goes to Rafiki's Planet Watch. It's not really so much a ride, but it as a transportation back and forth between the areas. But the next land we're talking about is Rafiki's Planet Watch. And that has the affection section, which is a petting zoo. So you can go hang out with the goats and other animals, chickens, and the conservation station, which is inside, and and you can see some of the vets working on things, and um, it's sort of the way you can view. I know a lot of people watch the Animal Kingdom show on Disney Plus, and you can see some of the animals and some of the things that happen there. And also now they have the animation experiences is at Rafiki's Planet Watch, and this is where you can sit down and learn how to draw a character from one of the cast members, which a lot of people like to do. And what do we have for theming there?
There's not, I couldn't find a lot of information, but one thing is because most of the park is about sort of animals and them telling their own story, but the this area, especially the conservation station, is mostly directly about how humans can help animals and their survival. So there's this beautiful, gorgeous, really big mural at the conservation station, and all of the animals are looking directly at the guests in a way to sort of show their expectation of humans additionally respecting and assisting their survival and the natural world survival. So it's sort of that really cool type of situation of like humans actually can help, not just hurt.
And please do.
Yeah.
Um, Things in this area, if you can get into the animation experience, that's a lot of fun. Again, you're led through drawing a character with a cast member. It's another sort of low key, laid back activity. That whole area, Planet Watch, it's sort of one of those nice escape to areas because it's usually not really crowded. Um, so if your crowds, you just sort of want something laid back, take the train out there and hang out with some animals for a while.
Yeah.
Do you have any other things we should do there?
Yeah, well, first off, the train is super cool because you pass by like some of the animal
Oh,
enclosures
right.
because at night they go into little like housing basically because some of them don't just stay out in Kilimanjaro Safari. So you get to see some of that and you get to see sort of that behind the scenes type of how they care for the animals, which is super cool. And then also, I mean, you get to go pet goats. It's a big plus.
That's a big plus. Definitely. So, and they're super friendly. Like the goats are really friendly. They're like dogs. Like they just come up to you. So, it's definitely worth some if you have the time to go out there and check it out. So, I would venture to say this next area is, well, it's probably tied. Ride wise though, this is probably your favorite area. Asia, which has Expedition Everest, the roller coaster, Kali River Rapids, Feathered Friends in Flight show, sort of a bird show, and
You don't
the
say.
yeah. If you don't like birds flying over your head, don't go to this. And then the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Again, another nice weavy walk to check out some animals. Think sort of zoo-like thing. Um, I think the theming in this area is like chef's kiss. Like this is definitely the area. So what do you got for us?
Um, in order to not make this entire podcast about this, I only have two things. Um, First off, one of my favorite details is if you look around Expedition Everest, there is firewood on rooftops to some of the buildings nearby. This is because in the area it's based on in these mountains, wood is very sacred. So having a stock on your roof helps to indicate wealth, and the more you have, the more wealthy you are, which I just think that's a really fun little detail and something that's like you don't notice as
Right.
much, but it's just really cool. And then how can I go on to the Roaming Yeti podcast without talking about the Yeti on Expedition Everest? First off, her name is Betty, adorable. And so she used to move. She used to do this big like sweeping motion and stuff, but that ended up becoming too it caused too much stress on the attraction. So shortly after, they ended up having to turn her off, but they put a strobe light on it so it looks like she's moving. It really does. It gives this great illusion of the fact that she is moving and that she's not. But this has come to the point in which everyone has lovingly given her this nickname of Disco Yeti due to the strobe light. And you'll see like some posters out near front where it's like Disco Yeti, like club or yoga club or whatever, and it's like it's just great.
Yeah, I mean, this I don't think I've ever talked about the origin of using a Yeti for the site and podcast, but it comes from the dancing Yeti, from Disco Yeti, and all the Yeti theming throughout the Asia park, Asia land. But it's so just every little poster ties back to the ride, and it really is neat. And someone who has spent a lot of time walking around that area as waiting for people on the ride. Um, I've seen a lot of the posters and a lot of details, so it did sort of, and then knowing there's a Yeti at the Matterhorn in Disneyland, that that sort of is where the Yeti from Roaming Yeti came from. Just as a little backstory for that. But the details in this land are probably my favorite, if not tied with the next land we'll talk about. Um, but so I'm gonna ask you what should people do there? Because you're the Expedition Everest rider. I'm not.
Yeah, I think that that's a great ride. If you don't get motion sick, it does go backwards. You don't really notice it, but there are definitely some forces to the point where one time I was like, "Are we going upside down?" You're not. But there's some fun forces with that. It is such a fun thrill ride. It's so good. I love the story of it. You can get some really amazing views when you're first going up the mountain. Look to both sides. You'll get some really great views of like I think you can see Epcot, you can see like the Swan and Dolphin Resort, and you can see Hollywood Studios. It's I love that ride so much. There's a single rider queue if you don't want to wait in as long of a line, but the actual like line queue in the inside, there's a lot of cool stuff you can see in that. It's definitely worth it if you want to stick with your group. Um, I just love that ride so much. It's one of my top favorite Disney rides.
It's usually a you guys usually ride it multiple times in a
Yes.
day if the lines are,
Yeah.
you know,
If
going
crowd permitting, it's
right.
at least a 2 to 3 a day, three
Yeah.
rides in that day.
Um, I would say I don't like I know people are probably like, why do you even go to theme parks, Beth? The Cali River Rapids is sort of cool, but I don't like having wet clothing for the rest of the day. Now, if it's super hot and I know I'm gonna dry off pretty quick, it's fine. But it's it's a rapids ride. It's similar to a lot of parks, but that is one other thing to do in that area. And I like the jungle treks and walking around and checking out the animals.
There's also some monkeys too. They're usually very active. Sometimes they're very loud.
Yes, they can be.
It's really entertaining.
Yeah, they're another good thing to watch while people are on in line for one of the other rides. So and there's a few good little cocktail bars to pick up a beverage while people are while you're waiting as well.
And I know another thing that we usually find you after we're done. You're usually in there's this amphitheater area that's like outside, and the character boats will sometimes go through it and stuff, so you can see the different characters. And she usually has a snack or a beverage, and she's in that area, and then we go out, and then we just chill there for a little bit longer too, because it's a nice area. Not a lot of people are there.
No one uses it. Like no one's it's just a nice area to sit and well and you can actually sit like because it's bleacher sort of seating and yeah, it's one of the few places you can actually sit down and rest. So yeah, I can be found in there a lot. I miss Kite Tails, which was
Oh,
the sort of huge windsock type kite characters that were pulled around by jet skis. And it was during COVID, but that's gone. I keep hoping, please, Bob Iger, bring them back. Bring them back. They were so
but
much fun.
and the way they landed too.
it was
watching them land was amazing.
it was just so it was so good. So hopefully they'll bring that back. But if not, I'm probably still sitting in the amphitheater area.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the last land. Um Dino Land USA. And we don't know how much longer we're gonna have Dino Land. There was some hints at the D23 conference about what Zootopia or maybe Moana.
It was
As
tragic.
it was tragic.
I did cry. I was like, do not touch Dino Land. You already got rid of Primeval World. I'm not happy with that. Don't
Yeah.
touch it.
Well, and yeah, it's lost its main probably attraction, one of its main attraction rides, Primeval Whirl, and it's it's a very fun part of the park. It's very different. It's just to give some highlights, it's based on a roadside town where fossils were found. So part of the land is built around the story of interns coming in to work the dig site. And there's a carnival part of the area that was, said to be created by a couple named Chester and Hester, who owned a gas station, and they built this carnival to make money from the discoveries and the interns. So, it's very different from all the seriousness of the rest of the park. And I don't know if it's because the story hasn't been told enough, but people just they don't get it. They don't like it. They want it gone. And the more I hear the backstory, it becomes cuter and cuter. Like it's such a fun area, and there's not a there's a few things back there, but I don't know. I don't know how long we'll have it, but I'm going to enjoy it as long as we do.
Yeah, because I mean, like when you don't know the story, it feels really disjointed because you have the weird carnival, you got the chaos of the like college students at the like Restaurantosaurus, and then you have the seriousness of like the Dino Institute. You're like, what? But it actually makes sense within the story, and it's actually a really cute little story to it. I love it, and I love the chaos of it all.
Yeah. And then they add more chaos, but we'll talk about that when we talk about things you should do. Um, so one of my favorite rides is their dinosaur. We still have Triceratops spin, similar to a Dumbo ride. There's a Finding Nemo show, which recently reopened in a much shorter. It used to be 45 minutes, I think. It was
I
really
think
long.
so.
And I think it's like 20 to 30 now, and it's an abbreviated, everyone loves it. It's a much better um storytelling
Would
show.
like to say it's a little off of where all of Dino Land
Yeah,
is, so it's not like all of a sudden you have Nemo near Dino. So
yeah,
it makes sense when
it's
you're
the
there.
walkway between Dino Land and Everest. So, but technically they put it in Dino Land. Um, but and then there's a boneyard playground for kids, and then what I believe they called the Fossil Fun Games, which is sort of your basic carnival games, and you can play. I think they still have like you can get the little stuffed dinosaurs from Dinosaur. They change their prizes all the time, so you never know. But it's like a basketball shoot. It's one of those shoot water at the clown balloon things. There's a ring or ball toss. I forget which one.
There's one where there's a bunch of holes and you have to like put your ball and see if one
Yeah,
of them
that's
falls, and if it's like a color, it depends on the prize.
yeah. So, and they do they cost additional money, but it's something fun to do. And like we said, it when you learn why it's there that Chester and Hester have built this on a dig site, it's you get the joke and it's more fun, for sure. So there's a ton of theming ideas, but or theming details here, but give us a few of your favorites.
Yeah. I also had to shrink this one down into a few. We got three. First off, in one of the entrances, not from Everest, I think it's from like Discovery Island, there is this 40-foot Brachiosaurus, and it's called the Olden Gate Bridge. I love the puns in this land so much. It's beautiful. And then, so in the area where like the ride dinosaur is, there is a skeleton of a T-Rex. Her name is Sue.
Mhm.
She is an exact replica of the largest, most complete, and best preserved T-Rex ever found. And I think it's now in Chicago.
Yeah, I
The
believe
real
it's
thing is in
the
Chicago,
real one's in a museum in Chicago.
but she's a replica and she's beautiful. And then in the loading area of dinosaurs, so like you go through the thing, you see your little show with Dr. Grant Seeker, and then you go down to the loading dock. There's some stairs there, but look up, there are some pipes, and they have chemical formulas on them. Now, the red one is for ketchup, the yellow one is for mustard, and the white one is for mayonnaise. This is due to the original sponsor of this ride being McDonald's.
Yeah, and it was originally I forgot to look it up. Ride to Extinction,
Countdown to extinction, I
Countdown
think.
to Extinction.
Yeah,
Yes, that's it. Thank you. And now it's Dinosaur.
because it's
Um,
based on a movie, actually.
oh, Dinosaur is?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
yeah,
that's
because that
right.
like the iguanodon or whatever is based on. I think it might be a movie called Dinosaur.
I think it is now that you mentioned that.
It's the nichest IP you'll probably find in parks.
Well, I don't know. There's Pecos Bill in
That's fair.
Magic Kingdom. Um, for me, Dinosaur is a must ride. I it can shake you up a bit. It's dark. So I don't depends, if you have little kids with you, which most of you probably don't. Um, it can get, but I there's a lot of little kids on that ride, so it's not, it's not a height issue usually. Um, but it's it's one of my favorite ride systems. There's a similar ride in Disneyland. It's the Indiana Jones ride. It uses the same ride vehicles, and the wheels never move. It's just the rest of the car moves around and feels like you're going over bumps and stuff. So it's it's a fun story on the ride. It's depending on where you sit, you sort of see different things each time. And but it's one of my favorite ride vehicles for sure. And the other thing that you should do when you're there is there is a Chip and Dale are two of my favorite characters to get pictures with because they are they're just funny. They pick on each other, they pick on people. Like they're really fun. And in Dino Land, not only do they have Chip and Dale, but they're in dinosaur onesie pajama costumes. And they're so cute. And
It's too good.
it's so good. Remember the time you still had braces on and Chip kept teasing Dale that he needed braces for his two little teeth that
Yeah,
hung down, and they're I mean they're just so funny. And I would when we're in line, um there's probably as many adults in line on their own as kids.
I think
Probably
there's
more
more.
adults. Yeah. They're a very popular adults picture. I don't think the kids are usually looking for Donald or Goofy or someone else in Dino Land, but Chip and Dale is they're a lot of fun and definitely worth. And they're tucked away near the dinosaur ride, so there's usually not a huge line either because people don't walk over there or they don't see them. So that's definitely a good one to go do. What are your must-dos there?
I mean, obviously Dinosaur, like you said, it's one of the best ride vehicles. It's it's so fun. Like it gives that thrill factor, but it's not like an insane roller coaster.
No.
It's a great ride. And then yeah, Chip and Dale, they're iconic. I once wore a Donald Duck shirt because it's like Donald
That's
Duck's little like basho going on, and like he's one of my favorite characters. So I'm wearing a Donald Duck shirt and they were like, that's not okay. So they like got little like one of those like Woody like the little stickers, and this one had Woody on it, and they put it over Donald Duck's
that's
face,
right.
which was super funny. They're such fun to interact with, and like you said, it's a lot of adults are in line, so like literally no one will judge you. No one cares.
No.
It's just fun. I mean, I obviously love seeing Donald because he's like one of my favorites. Daisy Duck is a fashion designer, and I obviously love that. She has this. There's this little like plastic dinosaur near her because I think it's where like there used to be like a playground, and he has a little like scarf on, and I think he might have glasses. It's fabulous. Yeah. And then just in general, because this is the one land that's supposed to be sort of nonsensical, sort of just like out there and crazy and outrageous. Have fun. This is the main land. Have fun. Be a kid. Go meet characters. Go play carnival games.
Right.
Just have fun.
It's true. Yeah, don't take it so serious. That some people do and they get confused. So, you're in on the secret now that you've listened to this. So go and enjoy being on the inside of that story. So that's all the lands that are there now. But I have to take a moment to to talk about a favorite that we used to have that Pandora took over. Um, Camp Mini Mickey, and it used to be where they had a lot of the meet and greet characters. They had Mickey, Minnie, Donald, I believe Goofy, Daisy, Pluto. I can't remember if I think Chip and Dale used to be over at Rafiki's.
Yeah, I think they
Um,
used to be at Rafiki's.
so they
Pocahontas was there.
oh right. And so
Yeah.
they would just have they sort of had little pavilions and you'd line up and you could go to each one. And the characters just they had a lot of fun there and there were times where it would rain in that park and they'd group the characters together so you would be able to get pictures that you wouldn't be able to get elsewhere. So when you were young, that was really that was we spent a lot of time there going through those. Um, we even had I'll never forget Donald was there and a cast member snuck up behind him and yelled Aflac at him. And Donald ran, and then the cast member ran, and Donald went running down the trail after him. And it was just like those are the moments that, you remember. I don't remember all the rides, but I remember those interactions and with characters. And it was just a fun area. Pandora's great. Pandora's beautiful. It was the right decision to make. But it still hold a place in my heart that I had to bring up.
And then wasn't there the time where it rained and I literally was able to walk up to meet, what was it, Mickey, Minnie, and Pluto all together?
Yeah.
I even got to scratch Pluto's nose. It was magical. Like it just the fact that all three of them are together, like that never happens. Like they
No.
might be in the same room, but it's different lines. Like and to be able to just walk up to that.
Yeah.
There's no like it
Yeah.
was so cool.
There was always sort of a special interaction there. So we just wanted to bring it up. It's not there. Um, we have Pandora, which is cool rides, but I don't know, just had to bring it up. Nostalgia. So, what about best thrill rides in the park? I'm gonna let you take over there.
Well, obviously Everest, like I said, it's by far one of my favorite rides in Disney parks. It's so good. The theming's great. It's such a fun thrill ride. It has a good kick to it. But like it's not too much like it's not like a lot, but it's like it's good. It's definitely like a lot for a Disney ride. Love it. And then there's sort of a debate. We don't know if dinosaur counts as
Right?
a thrill ride. It's not a roller coaster, but there's a thrill factor to it. Also, it's scary because like dinosaurs are chasing you.
And
So
it's dark. Like it's
it's
dark all
dark.
through the ride.
Yeah, it can be a little disorienting. Like it's so I'm gonna count as a thrill ride. I also love that ride. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And as someone who hasn't been on Everest, I put it there because I won't ride it. We already mentioned Everest and dinosaurs as like not to skips. What other, do you have any other ones that I think we have the same ones, but
I mean, Kilimanjaro Safari, like I said, is it a day at Animal Kingdom if you didn't go on the safari?
agreed.
It it's a quintessential ride that you need to do. And then I would say Flight of Passage is just such a technologically cool ride and it's really pretty. The lines can be pretty long, so I would It's not something that I have to go on every time, but if any chance I get to go on, it's pretty exciting. But it's a good ride.
I feel like at the end of the day, you can usually get on it a lot smoother than
Yeah.
because a lot of people rope drop it in the morning.
Hmm.
So I think then in the evening you can sometimes walk on a little easier.
Yeah. The rope drop lines for it are insane.
Yeah. So now we'll move to my favorite parts of the park, which is food and drink. Um, we there's it's interesting because there's a lot of options. I would say there's a lot more snacking and quick service at Animal Kingdom that has really good food and options that you can sort of snack through the day. Um, Tiffin's is their high-end restaurant. We have not eaten there, but I've heard really good things. It may be hard to get a reservation, but go for it, try. Julia mentioned Nomad Lounge. This is a great place. It's right next to Tiffin's, and it's a great place to take a break, get a drink, and some snacks, some foods. They don't they don't take reservations, but they have what they call their walk-up wait list. So you have to be in the vicinity of it on the app to be added to the wait list. Sometimes that's a little glitchy, so you just walk up to the counter and they can help you get on the wait list. And then they'll text you when it's your time to come back. So usually, it's sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's a few hours, but it's just a nice area to just sort of relax and hang out and enjoy. Um,
And some good snacks.
yes, there's
You can
definitely
make that a meal. Like, we're
yeah,
not going to judge you. We've done it.
we've done it. And if you're gonna eat churros, that's where in Walt Disney World, that's where you eat churros.
Yeah.
Um, we'll probably have a churro debate once we get to Disneyland in a few months.
No
Uh,
biggie.
Satuli Canteen is in Pandora. It's a quick service. People love, and they are good. We've tried them. They're called cheeseburger pods. Basically, it's like a Asian bun stuffed with cheeseburger ingredients, and they're good. They're fun. And then they have a lot of rice and noodle bowls. We haven't had those. They always seem it's always too hot for me to sort of dig into a nice broth and noodle kind of bowl. So one day we'll try those. Um, but also who has bowls is Harambe Market. When they had one, and last when we were there in November, I had a grilled chicken bowl with cilantro rice, and it was so refreshing and good. Like it wasn't heavy in the heat. So eh, that's a nice quick service to sneak into and get. Tusker House is a really fun character meal, and the thing is, it has really good food. There's some, African inspired food and a buffet, so you can sort of try what you want, and there's a little bit for everything, for everyone. But it's a fun character meal, and one of they're in safari costumes. They're so cute.
Yeah. Again, it's adorable.
It's adorable. And like I said, there's so many places to grab snacks. There's a seasoned French fry that people really like. I know there's like Walt's chili, Frito pie somewhere. So you can
I think you can
pretty
get
much,
street corn somewhere,
yeah. I mean,
which people like.
you can sneak. You can just snack your way through the park all day, which I would actually suggest. It's a
Yeah.
fun way to do that. If you are into beers, there's three exclusive beers to the park, which means you can't get them anywhere else. So there's a Kunkaloosh Ale, and it says it's at Nomad Lounge. I think it might be a few other places in the park. They sort of move it around. I don't know. And then there's two beers at Pongu Pongu, which is the sort of bar area in walk-up bar windows in Pandora. And there's a Hawks Grog Ale, which is it's green colored, and it's a wheat beer. And then there's the Moara High Country Ale, which is a red ale. I prefer the Hawks wheat. It's just a little lighter and goes better in the heat. And it's green, so it's fun. It's a good Instagrammable. So those are the exclusive beers there. There's also like a slushy drink called Night Blossom,
Night
right?
Blossom. It's so good. It's a non-alcoholic slushy type drink. It like it's set like I forget what the flavors are. I think one of them is like apple and there's like a purple one, but it's not grape. I don't know. Like it sounds and there's boba balls. It sounds like it should not be good. It's really good.
Yeah,
It's really refreshing. It's a nice fun drink. There is also like a version with alcohol in it too,
yeah.
which is good. And then they have snacks at Pongu Pongu too. They have a giant pretzel.
They have a
And
giant pretzel and then they have a pineapple
yeah.
lumpia,
Hmm.
um, which is a pineapple and like a almost like a cheesecake cream cheese sort of filling, and it's really
Yeah.
good. So
Hmm.
that's a great place to grab a snack and a drink as well. Do you have any other food drink suggestions?
I think that's it. I think you hit all of them. I do have to say, because you brought up the cheeseburger pods, you can get that in both kids and adult sizing. I think adult has two and kids has one. Get the kids one so then you can snack more. If you're gonna get them,
Right.
get the kid size so you can snack more.
They're filling, yeah. I
They're
mean,
filling. They're good. I wish they had a little bit more like of the cheeseburger filling inside, but I understand that you only have so much in the bun.
yeah,
Not my like I would say go get other snacks over it, but if you really want to try it, get the kid size so you can get other snacks.
that's true. You want to pace yourself.
Mhm.
Um, and just some other, in general park tips that we have. If you're at Tusker House or you're at Festival of Lion King, there's actually a walkway that goes along the waterway from Africa to Pandora, and not a lot of people use it. There's a nice bathroom, there's restroom area there, but you can see some of the character boats go up the waterway, and it's usually not too busy, so you can just sort of take your time and um, you know, you can even sit on there's some wall area to sort of sit on and take a breath and watch things go by. So it definitely is a better way to get from Africa to Pandora than going out into the middle of the tree area and all, all that fun stuff.
Also, the
Um,
characters get really close with the boats.
they
It's
do.
really crazy. Like
Mm.
you're probably like, I don't know, maybe 6 feet away. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, you can get some great pictures. They can see you and wave and please wave at the animals. I mean the characters. Please, please don't like you're in a theme park. You've already given up reality. So just wave and have fun because they like to
Yeah.
wave back and they dance on their boats and it's a good time. We
There's
talked
good
about
music.
yeah, no, they have live music on the boats with them sometime. Um, we talked about doing the safari earlier in the day. The animals tend to be more active. Also, if it's raining, go on the safari. Um, there's a covering on the truck, so you're not, when you're on the truck, you're not going to get wet. And the animals are often more active. We actually had elephants rolling in, like playing in the mud one day
I
when
think
we went on the
so.
rain. And the lines are short, like a lot of times for the rain. We actually had a driver who was like, "You want to just stay on and go again?" We're like, "No, well, we have to be somewhere else." But um, it's definitely it's a good rainy day. You're gonna get wet in the park no matter what, but it's a good rainy day park. You know, there's some things going on. Plus, it has two shows that you can get out from the rain.
Mhm.
Um, so those are a few tips.
And then
And
Kali River Rapids because you're already wet.
yes, if that's open, you might as well go. You're wet and it won't matter. Um, and we've mentioned before, like walking around and just taking the theming and follow the animal trails. Um, People get in a hurry in these parks, and I think Animal Kingdom is really great because it makes you slow down. Like there's so many things. Um, the path from land to land can get a little confused, it's sort of windy and stuff. So it's just a park that lets you slow down a little bit. I feel like that and Epcot and the World Showcase. They're the two slow down areas.
Yeah, you're
Um,
gonna get lost in Animal Kingdom, and that's okay. If you just keep walking, you're gonna somehow get into a place where you know where you are.
right.
It's okay. We've all done that.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep walking. You'll find the tree. Just
It's a
look for the
circle at
tree.
one point.
Yeah. But I mean those are my pro tips. Do you have any other ones?
No, I think you hit on all of them.
Okay. So I mean this hopefully you get to see why we love Animal Kingdom so much and how you can easily spend a full day in there. It's not a half day park, people. Um, but we hope you check it out and we're gonna try about once a month. Again, go through the different parks we've been to over the years and share this information. So, if there's anything else you want us to talk about, let us know. Hit me up on social media, send me an email, and we'll include them in future ones. But thanks for helping me out today, and I know I'll be bugging you for a few more parks.
Cannot wait. I love talking about Disney parks so much. I don't normally because I'm like, this is gonna scare people away. But any moment I can, I love it because I know too much.
Yeah, well, this is a safe space. All right, well, that's all for today, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks again to Julia for joining me on this episode. We will do an episode for every Disney park we have visited, so stay tuned over the next few months. And thank you for listening. I hope these episodes inspire you to get out and roam, even in your own neighborhood. Please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you like what we're doing here, please leave a review and a rating. Also, to help support us, please head to yeti2shop.com to pick up some Roaming Yeti merch. Talk to you soon and keep roaming.